Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope you all must have gone through those words. Okay, so that now the chapter also would be very easy for you to understand. Okay, so as I said you in the last video, we will start now with the chapter explanation. So let's go ahead. First chapter, I'm not but a chicken. Let's start. I'm not but a chicken. You can't order me. Nitya shouted at her father. And then she turned to run, upsetting the silly little overcrowded table. She fled. Cowed means a table on which a design is made by cutting its hard surface. And there is another word, fled, F-L-E-D. Fled means to go away, to escape from there. So in the beginning of the chapter, as I said you, that young Nitya had some argument and she is saying her father that I am not a butter chicken, you can't order me. So in the introduction of the chapter, I had said you that the chapter starts with reactive nature of Nitya. We can see these characteristics in the adolescence as we had discussed prior the chapter starting. When she says I'm not a butter chicken, you can't order me, that means generally when we go to restaurant, we order the dishes we like. So she is saying that you don't understand me as any object. I am a living being, I have also some emotions, you can't order me like that. So this is the thing I had discussed with you, that now in this teenage, you people start thinking differently, and your behavior, your attitude, everything changes because now you are pursuing some new identity. You try to be like adults. So all those characteristics we can find in the character of Nitya. So her father might have told her to do something, so she is taking it in a very insulting manner, that I am small, so you are ordering me to do all these things. Now don't think that I'm small, I am now growing up, and the way you are saying me, you cannot say me anymore, I am not a child now. So we feel it is very funny, as an elder, if we look at it, we feel it actually funny. But at that time, the teenager are very serious for their emotions, and they sometimes feel that nobody is trying to understand us. So the same thing happens with Nitya, and then after upsetting the table, she fled, and her heart was thumping wildly. Thumping means it was beating very quickly and very fast. And she raced up the stairs. Raced up means move quickly. Slammed the door shut and leaned panting against it. Means now she uh, closed herself inside the room and she slammed, means, and then being angry she shuts the door very forcefully. And then she was panting. Panting means she was breathing with short and quick breathings. Now here also we can see two emotions running in Nitya's mind. Why did she slam? Because of anger, that no one is understanding me. And why she was panting? So when we breathe quickly, it is out of anger or fear also sometimes. When we have excitement at that time also, our heart thumps, and we just breathe quickly. So all the characteristics of teenagers we can see here by this behavior of Nitya. There is one more word, lean. Now lean means what? To take support against door. In chapter, she is leaning against door. It could be anything else also, not only door, on which we can lean over. So she went inside, she locks herself, and she was taking. quick breaths, maybe because of fear or anger. Initially, when she argued and raised up and came into her room at that time, her confidence was too high. But afterwards, her confidence means she lost it completely because she thought that whatever I did, it is I should not have done this. She did it, but afterwards, she just thought over it that now what will happen. So she tried to listen. So let's go ahead with the next passage. She listened now, pressing her ear against the door. Surely Papa would come up. He would never let her get away with this. Never let her get away with this means he will never forgive her, and he would definitely scold her. So after reacting this way, she had now some fear in her mind, and she was thinking like this. But the stairs were empty. No footsteps creaked on them. Her father's walking on the wooden staircase. Maybe they are having wooden staircase. So she was trying to hear that if someone, his father, is coming upstairs. No footsteps creaked on them. There was a murmur far away. Now, murmur means to speak something in a very low voice, so it is not audible clearly. So, out of the room, something was going on, and she's thinking, voices? किसकी आवाज़ आ रही है? क्या हो रहा है बाहर? Nitya just couldn't be sure. She waited. She knew she would have to pay the price sooner or later. Pay the price means she will have to face the result of her reaction in the manner of her father's, uh, her father would be scolding. So she was not certain what will happen now. Nitya just couldn't be sure. She waited. She knew she would have to pay the price sooner or later. She didn't dare give a word for what she thought of her father just then. The word, whatever it was too terrible. Nitya didn't realize that she had slid onto the floor. Her trembling legs, trembling both from exertion and fear, had literally let her down. Tremble means to shiver, means vibrate the body due to fear or due to sometimes illness also. So now she was here trembling due to the fear that what will happen to me now, and when my father will come, she will मतलब कि मुझे छोड़ेंगे नहीं अभी. So, in such mental state, even when she was about to fall by sliding on the surface, she could not pay attention there. The word exertion means to do something forcefully. Now, here also she is putting her efforts to hide her fear, but as she is trying to hide it, it is, increasing, and let her down means she was not able to maintain her confidence now. Her confidence was lost gradually. It always did. She could never control it. Your tongue is too long for your mouth, she was often told. So her parents were often saying that you are speaking too much. Your tongue is too long means you are speaking too much. Let's go ahead. Crossing her eyes, she stuck her tongue out as far as it would go. Now she is trying to look at her tongue, that what her parents were saying, is it true? She thinks, am I having that long tongue, pointed and sharp? So she finds that the tongue was very sharp, really. It looked as razor sharp as she was always told it was. Means often her parents were saying that you अपनी जबान तो है बहुत तेज है तीखी है. So the same way she is now just recalling, and she is observing her tongue, that really is it so. So now she recalls all the things which her parents had told. Now she realized that she has made a mistake. Yeah, she should not have reacted like that. But now, what can we do? There is no use of crying over spilt milk. We also do the same thing in our day to day life. Okay, so you have to understand by applying this incident to your life. Whenever this kind of situation occurs in your life, you have to think about the character of Nitya, that what did she do, and afterwards what kind of emotions she was facing. So it is always better to think before you speak. Okay, and whenever you have to say something, you want to uh, do something, you have to think very wisely before behaving or before saying something. Trouble was she didn't even always agree with it. Means she did not believe that my parents are saying it correct. So she always have the feeling that they will never understand me, and they always scold me. Sometimes it said things that she herself would never, could never even have dreamt of. Means sometimes her own tongue just speaks the things which she can never imagine that she herself has said so. Like just now, for instance means example or the incident which recently happened. This is the example for that, which proves that Nitya is having really a sharp and long tongue. She speaks anything without thinking. Now next paragraph. I'm not but a chicken, you can't order me. Wow, it was a pretty smart thing to say, much smarter than anything she could possibly have thought of by herself. Means she was somewhere satisfying her ego that, see, I'm very smart. The way I answered, I was really very smart to reply this way. Now let's look at the thing from the parents or someone else's point of view. Let's go ahead. The writer says that she is thinking that she is smart. But in reality, she was not smart. And by giving the reason, the writer says that if she were smart, then she would have secured more marks in study. This is what generally teenagers think when they are misbehaving, when they are arguing with the teachers or parents or elders. But actually, means reality is something different. Though they are taking it as their smartness, it is not smartness, but it is the rudeness. Okay, so we should be very polite to our elders, and we should think before doing or speaking anything. Now, let's go ahead. Nitya was looking at her tongue. She was just, she crossed her eyes to look at her tongue, and she said, it's so agile. Means she could move it, and it is very smart. Too smart for its own good, too long for its own mouth. Means she herself was thinking that it is, I'm very smart. She stretched up a bit and tried to get a better look at it in the chrome of the door handle. So, the chromium, one kind of metal which is used to make the, you know, handles for the door for locking it. So, it is made up of metal. So, she is just trying to look at herself and look at her tongue, that how it is looking in the chrome of the door. Her distorted reflection stared back at her. Means when she looks at the metal and the when the door lock is, especially it is round shaped, so when we look at it, our reflection changes little bit because it is not flat. So distorted means changed somewhat. So her changed reflection was looking back to her. Stare means to have a long fixed look, eyes bulging in disbelief. Bulging means becoming big, and her eyes were bulging in disbelief. Disbelief means she could not believe that it is her tongue. When her parents were saying that you have a very long tongue, and they were saying you are speaking too much, at that time she was not agreed, but now she herself is looking at her own tongue. So at that time now she realizes that yeah, it is actually what my father and mother were saying, it is true. My tongue is really very long, but still she is taking it all literally. The hidden meaning behind saying that your tongue is long, she is not able to understand still. Let's go ahead. Her tongue rippled restlessly, never still, even for a split second. Means, even for a moment, her tongue could not be still. It keeps on moving. She tried to hold it still, but it rippled like a hyperactive pink python. So she tried herself to keep the tongue still, but it could not stay still. She tried to hold it still. She was putting her efforts deliberately to keep it still, but it rippled like a hyperactive pink python. Python means it's kind of snake, you know. In Gujarati, we say ajgar. So these creatures are very, they cannot sit quietly, or whenever we see, they just keep on moving their body. So here Nitya's tongue is compared with the python, and python is also not normal, hyperactive, which never remains stable, always keep on moving. Now let's go to the next page. Voices. There, they were again. Now she listens. Someone's voice again, just a murmur. It was not audible. What could they be saying? Ma's probably saying, let it go. She's teenager. Papa is saying, she doesn't deserve your sympathy or my understanding. This way, she herself is imagining the worst situation. That Mama would be favoring me and she would be convincing my father to let her go. As she is teenager, she is small. छोटे बच्चे कभी कभी ऐसी गलती करते हैं, but her father is not ready to forgive her. This is all what she thinks, she imagines. Actually, she did not listen anything clearly. She was just assuming that they might be talking this way. This time, I'm really going to let her have it. अब की बार तो मैं छोड़ूंगा नहीं उसे. She lay down right there on the floor. The crack under the door revealed the lit up lobby at the top of the staircase. Now she is very restless, and she is, as I said, she was afraid that how will my father, react with me. So what does she do? She lays down on the floor. ऐसे झुक करके she tries to watch outside the door. What is happening outside? Is anybody is coming or not? So under the door there is a crack, out of which she is trying to watch something outside the lobby. And when she watches, she could see that the lobby was very bright than the room inside. When she has locked herself inside, might be that she might not have switched the tube light, and that's why the room is very dark. So, as compared to the darkness in the room, she feels that the outside lobby is very bright lit up. So here the crack under the door revealed the lit up lobby, the top of the staircase. So top of this staircase means when we just walk on the stairs and come upside. So at that time the flat area is they are talking about. There was the murmuring again. Now her attention is there only, what they are talking about. What were they talking about for so long time? Why didn't he just come up, scold her, and get it over and done with? Here, see, one kind of pressure, mental pressure is there, that कुछ भी हो सकता है. हम गुजराती में कहते हैं ना लटकती तलवार. So उस तरह से she is also thinking that anything may happen, and it is very bad to feel fear in her mind every time. So उससे तो अच्छा है कि जो करना है कर ले, डांट दे वाट दे जो भी, और ख़त्म करे चैप्टर, तो उसके बाद तो वो रिलीव हो सके. The tension was a live thing, leeching the strength out of her. What does leech do? It is kind of insect. It just sits on the skin of animals or human being, and it just keeps on sucking the blood. So and it just continuously consumes our blood. So is like a leech. Here again the comparison is done with her thought of fear with the leech. As leech sucks the blood, this kind of thought or tension was like sucking the strength out of her, and she was becoming weak. Now, next paragraph. She awoke a little while later to the sound of voices. Voices. Voices again. Now she is confused. What they are talking about? She is becoming very desperate to know, as uncertainty always brings tension. Punctuated with laughter this time. Laughter? What was funny? Where was the fury? Laughter. Nitya's mother's voice. So here Nitya is actually confused that there is nothing like we can laugh about. We can laugh on it. So the matter was actually serious. And what they are talking and why they are laughing, it's really confusing. And where was the fury? Fury means anger. She was thinking that anger would be running in others' mind. But here the picture is somewhat different. Nitya's mother's voice, her father's voice, laughing. Oh my god, she is now really surprised to hear this, that her mother is laughing, that is okay, but her father is also laughing. It is, very strange for her to understand. Now, grief overwhelmed her. Overwhelmed means effect of emotions. Grief means sadness. So, due to this sadness, she was now means emotionally affected. Loneliness engulfed her. Loneliness. She was just inside the room. She had locked herself, so she was lonely there in the room, and mentally also somewhat she was feeling very lonely at this time. And everyone else means her mother, father, they were enjoying talking together, and she is now here alone. So she is saying that loneliness engulfed her, means she was surrounded by the loneliness. No one was there with her, not physically, not emotionally. She was, after all, alone. Even her parents, unaware and uncaring of her despair, were sitting downstairs in their living room and laughing. Now she thinks that no one is there to care for me. They don't concern of my happiness and what am I suffering now. So she is thinking from her point of view. Actually, her parents had not taken it very seriously, and that's why they are laughing on their ordinary talks. but she is developing now her own thinking, on her own perspective to looking at the situation. And the same way we are also doing sometimes. We are mistaking them, and then we, when we come to know the reality that why did they do so, we feel very bad that why did I think so about them. Sometimes it happens with our friends also, right? Maybe if something dramatic were to happen to her, maybe if her life were to come to a sudden stop. Now, the use of if only shows that all these things are not reality, but she is just thinking with her own perspective. Maybe she is thinking that maybe her life were to come to a sudden stop, then they would realize that they had wronged her terribly. Now she is thinking that if something will happen to me now, so then they will repent for this, that due to them I just did this with my life. She could just see it now, her mother grieving, her father not only grieving but terribly guilty, knowing that it was his fault. Now she is thinking that I am not at fault. Whatever is fault, it is of my parents, and especially her father. When he would come to know that what I have done with my life, then not only he would be grieving, but he would feel guilty for doing this. Well, if not his fault exactly, then at least that he had been too hard on this tender young child. If he is not in at fault, even then he should not be so harsh. Okay, I am a little child, so he should have explained to me wherever I am wrong. He should explain me that you should not do this way, you should do this way. So tears, real tears, rolled down Nitya's cheeks until shouts of laughter floated up at her from downstairs. So now she is feeling, a trauma of the emotions, and under that pressure, mental pressure, she started, crying, and tears were rolling down her cheeks. And in that, at that time, suddenly a laughter, shouts of laughter actually comes, and she listens that somewhere downstairs someone is laughing. See, now this is the thing which happens with us at this age. You people are very much emotional, and you think yourself as true, and the reality is something different, and you look at it with your own outlook, and the reality is something different, and you keep on arguing, and you keep on insisting that yes, I am correct, then why should I step back. So this actually does not affect anyone else, but it affects only and only you. It disturbs your mental peace. Correct? So we should never be reactive, first of all. It is not good for our happiness, our mind. We should always be calm, and we should always think from both the sides. When we just look at the thing from our side only, maybe that we are not able to see the things which they are looking. See, even when we are looking at something from distance, it looks little bit different, and when we come closer and look again, then it might have changed its form. So this is the difference of angle or at outlook. See, we take pictures with our mobile. The same scene is there, same person is there, but still in different people's mobile, different views will be captured with different quality, right? So can't we do that? It is possible. So the same thing is possible, that the situation is same, but everyone has the different perspective to look at the situation, and accordingly they just behave. So here Nitya's perception was little bit reactive, so she is thinking all these things, whereas on the other hand her parents, they didn't react like this. So they were behaving very normally, they were laughing on their talk, and this is what Nitya is not understanding. And she thinks that how could they be laughing? What were they laughing at? Nitya, Nitya, come down. You have got to see this. Her mother called. So they were watching a cartoon maybe or any funny comedy show or movie. So Nitya's mother and father were laughing because of the funny picture, funny movie on the television. And when she is very happy, so she wanted her child also to be very happy. So she just calls Nitya, and she says that come down, you also watch it along with us. See what? A trap to get her to open the door and come out of the safe confines of her room. Means it was a trap in which Nitya was confined. So now it is their parents' trick. Nitya was thinking so that it is their trick to get me out of the room and come out of the my safe and secure room. So when I will go out, they will scold me or they will express their anger for me. So she did not want to go out. But on the other hand, she also wanted to know the reason of their laughter. So more laughter, more shouts, urging her to come down. So they were calling again and again. Her mother was shouting and calling her name, and she was saying her to come down. This was incredible. She was seething as she opened the door. Means her heart was fully loaded with the anger, emotions, but it is unexpressed till. As she also wanted to know the reason, finally, due to this more laughter and more shouts, it just compelled her to come out and to go downstairs. But this was actually unbelievable. When she opens the door and she just goes down, so at that time, what does she see? She was just filled with strong emotions. There were a surge of emotion was just going on in her mind, but still she did not express it. They were making fun of her in the worst possible way. They were enjoying her sorrow. Means I am in trouble and you people are making fun of me, and see the way you are just behaving. She thinks that they don't care me, they don't love me. See the way they are behaving, they don't have any worry for me. So she and the little black cloud that was forming on top of her head made their cautious way downstairs. She would be ready to bolt any second. Black cloud hovering on the head means there was a possibility that any time she might be trapped by her parents and they may start slapping or they may start scolding her. So she was now very cautious while walking ahead. Means she was very much active and was ready to run away. If she finds something like dangerous for her, she was just ready to run. So she would be ready to bolt any second. Bolt means run away suddenly, quickly. So she and the black cloud which was forming on her head, both were very cautious, both were very alert when they were just going downstairs. They were always be ready to run away if they find any kind of danger. Danger in the sense if she finds that her parents are angry. So in that case, she will again run away and lock herself in the room. So this is all what she was thinking, but now Let us see the twist, the climax of this story. What actually happens? She was planning to run away if she see any danger, but now here the completely different image she is watching. Her parents were laughing and they were saying that you just come and sit beside us. They were making room for her. Make a room for means to give a space to sit, each making room for her by moving to the ends of the sofa. So they were giving her space to sit on and just enjoy with themselves with them. Here in your book, there might be a spelling mistake. I think instead of the and, in between the and ands, there should be a space, but it is a printing mistake. So you just underline that and mark after the we have to put a space. So they were just moving and they were giving space for Nitya to sit, and she hesitated. Means first earlier she had thought that they would be doing this and that, so that image was so strong in her mind that now she was not able to accept the thing. Though she is watching with her own eyes, she was not able to accept it so soon that they are not playing trick and they are really saying me. So she was not in a condition to trust them. This had to be a trap. So she was thinking that ये कोई जाल बिछाई है मुझे पकड़ने के लिए. As soon as I will sit on the sofa, they will be trapping me. And trapped she would be if she went and sat between them. अगर वो गई और बैठी वहाँ पे तो पक्का मतलब वो पकड़ लेंगे. They were watching TV. TV right after a fight as big as the ones they had had. They had the nerve to watch TV. In her mind, the thoughts were running. She was thinking that टीवी देख रहे हैं, इतनी बड़ी फाइट हो गई घर में और वो लोग मजे कर रहे हैं. She hesitated, but then another shout of laughter from her parents got the better of her. Standing at some distance, she was thinking all these things, and at that time, another call of their parents means they tell her to sit beside them. So she was ready to bolt if something happened, and she was obviously, as I said, she was very much alert and cautious that if it is a trap, if they are making any kind of trick, so I will not be caught. I will run away from here. Then they were laughing again as the hilarious program unfolded before them. Hilarious means on which we laugh a lot. So the pictures or the scenes, they were very comic, and due to that they were laughing too much. And Nitya laughed out loud too. Now Nitya, she was completely tension free, that it was not the trick to hold her, but they are really laughing and enjoying the show. So she also sits there and she also laughs aloud in spite of herself, sitting there laughing as though nothing had happened. So all the trouble have come to an end. Then her father pulled her by the arm gently. So her father holds her arm and वो उसको धीरे से अपनी ओर खींचते हैं, अपनी लाडली बेटी को. And he says, and plonked her next to him. Plonked means pulled carelessly. So उसको अपनी ओर खींच लेते हैं प्यार से. He put his arm around her. He gave her a hug and smiled as he said. And जैसे ही उसके पापा ने ऐसा बोला तो वो भी एकदम से हंसने लग गई और उनको हग कर लिया. क्या बोला था फादर ने ऐसा? He said, "You are right, my darling butter chicken. I can't order you." This is also happening with us also, right? In our day-to-day life, when our teacher scolds us and we cannot understand and we are very angry, so they just call us and explain us and they hug us, they give us love. Same way with parents also. And at that time we realized that whatever we were thinking, it was completely wrong. The other side was completely different than what we were thinking. So, dear Bacha Party, what you have to learn through this chapter? First of all, that we should not react without thinking. Whatever we have to say, we should think over it. We should try to look at the problem from both sides. We should not judge the situation at our level. So this is the first thing that we can do to avoid the misunderstanding and this problem. And the other thing is, if we have done something wrong, then we should not keep it in our mind. We should go directly to that person and we should talk to them. We should try to resolve everything, because the longer it remains in our mind, it gives very bad effect. So our mind is not meant to make it as a dustbin with this negative emotions. It should be always peaceful, happy, stable, all right, and bubbling. And there is one shlok also I remember here. It is said that कुपुत्रो जायेत क्वचिदपि कुमाता न भवति. Here माता means we have to take as parents. That पुत्र कुपुत्र हो सकता है, बच्चा मतलब किसी भी हद तक गिर सकता है, पर पेरेंट्स जो है वो कभी भी अपना लेवल नहीं छोड़ेंगे. वो कभी भी बच्चों को प्यार करना, उसकी केयर करना, वो कभी भी नहीं छोड़ेंगे. सो ऑलवेज ट्रस्ट योर पेरेंट्स, ओबे देम, एंड बी वेरी काम and don't react. Okay, take care. So now in our next video we will solve the exercises given after chapters, and that you need to write down. So make a notebook where you have to write all these things. Keep on writing whatever the teachers are saying you in their videos. Thank you.